Stop scrolling. If you want to be ready for Season 3, you need to catch up on the chaos of the Dance of the Dragons fast. Seasons 1 and 2 completely changed the game for Westeros, and it's easy to get lost in the Targaryen family tree. I'm breaking down the entire story, from the spark that started the war to the massive cliffhanger that changed everything. We're covering the betrayals, the power plays, and exactly where every dragon rider stands right now. The war for the Iron Throne is finally here. Let's get you caught up. Season 1, it starts at the Great Council of Harrenhal. To avoid civil war over succession, the Lords choose Prince Viserys over Princess Rhaenys, setting a brutal precedent. Sons before daughters. 9 years later, Viserys' wife Aemond dies in a desperate, forced delivery of the male heir everyone wanted, and the newborn Balon dies a day later anyway. At the tournament that follows, a nobody named Sir Criston Cole humiliates the king's brother Daemon in the jousts. Drunk and bitter, Daemon mocks the dead infant as the heir for a day, and Viserys banishes him on the spot, then names his teenage daughter Rhaenyra as heir, forcing the realm to swear loyalty to a woman for the first time. Privately, he passes down a Targaryen secret, a prophecy of a deadly threat from the north that only a united Westeros can survive. Daemon doesn't take banishment quietly. He seizes Dragonstone, declares himself heir, and steals a dragon egg. Otto Hightower sails to confront him, but Rhaenyra herself talks Daemon down without bloodshed. Then Viserys drops a bombshell. He's marrying Otto's daughter, Alicent. Lord Corlys Velaryon, furious at being passed over, starts courting an alliance with Daemon instead. 3 years pass. Daemon and Corlys fight an unsanctioned war in the Stepstones. Rhaenyra, pressured to marry, flees into the woods and spares a legendary white hart, a symbol of royal destiny. Viserys reassures her she's still his heir and free to choose her husband. Daemon finally kills the pirate warlord behind it all, claiming victory single-handedly. Daemon returns wearing a self-crowned title, then immediately surrenders it to Viserys, and the brothers briefly reconcile. He sneaks Rhaenyra into the city for a passionate night, then abruptly leaves. Frustrated, Rhaenyra comes home and seduces her own sworn protector, Criston Cole. Otto's spies catch wind of it. Alicent confronts Rhaenyra, who swears she's still untouched. But Viserys, realizing Otto is just maneuvering to put his own grandson on the throne, fires him his hand. Daemon is exiled again, and Rhaenyra is ordered into a political marriage with Rhaenyra Velaryon. Before that wedding, Daemon murders his estranged wife in the Vale. Rhaenyra and Leno, who's gay, strike a deal. Produce heirs for appearances, pursue lovers privately. On the voyage home, Criston begs Rhaenyra to run away with him. She refuses, wanting him only as a secret lover, and he's humiliated. Otto warns Alicent that Rhaenyra's rise will doom Alicent's own children. Digging for the truth, Alicent grills Criston, who guiltily confesses his affair with Rhaenyra. At the wedding feast, Alicent makes a pointed entrance in House Hightower Green, a call to arms. Rhaenyra's lover Joffrey taunts Criston about both their secrets, and Criston snaps, beating him to death in front of everyone. Rhaenyra is married off in a grim ceremony, while Criston is talked down from suicide by Alicent. 10 years jump by. Rhaenyra gives birth to her third son, Joffrey, and it's obvious none of her 3 sons resemble Rhaenyra. They all resemble the City Watch commander, Harwin Strong. Criston needles Harwin in the training yard until he snaps violently, all but confirming the rumors. Harwin's father, the Hand of the King Lionel Strong, tries to resign but is only allowed to escort his son home, where Lionel's other son Larys has the castle burned, killing his own father and brother to win Alicent's favor. Rhaenyra flees to Dragonstone. Meanwhile, in Pentos, Rhaenyra Velaryon, dying in childbirth, chooses to die on Dragonback. The family reunites for Rhaenyra's funeral. Daemon and Rhaenyra grow close again. That night, Alicent's son Aemond sneaks out and claims the massive dragon Vhagar. Rhaenyra's and Daemon's children clash with Aemond, who calls them bastards, and Rhaenyra's son Luke slashes out Aemond's eye. Viserys demands peace and threatens to cut out the tongue of anyone questioning his grandson's parentage. Alicent, enraged, grabs Viserys' dagger demanding an eye for an eye, lunging at Luke and accidentally cutting Rhaenyra in the chaos. With the Greens clearly turning, Rhaenyra and Daemon decide to marry each other. To make it work, they help Rhaenyra fake his death and escape to Essos, freeing Rhaenyra to wed her uncle in old Valyrian tradition. 6 years later, Lord Corlys is near death, and his brother Aemond publicly challenges Luke's right to inherit Driftmark, calling Rhaenyra's children bastards. Rhaenyra and Daemon return to a King's Landing, now dominated by the faith of the Seven under Alicent's influence. Viserys, dying and disfigured, drags himself to the throne room one last time to back Luke's claim. When Aemond calls Rhaenyra a whore, Daemon simply beheads him on the spot. At a final family dinner, the dying Viserys begs everyone to reconcile, until Aemond mockingly toasts Rhaenyra's sons as strong boys, sparking another brawl. That night, a delirious Viserys mistakes Alicent for Rhaenyra and mutters fragments of the old prophecy about the prince that was promised. Alicent misreads this as Viserys naming their son Aegon as his true successor. Viserys dies. The Green Council immediately crowns Aegon too. Despite the fact he doesn't even want the throne, they have to drag him out of a brothel. Varys exposes Rhaenyra's spy network in the city, and it's burned down. Aegon is crowned at the Dragon Pit, but the imprisoned Princess Rhaenys escapes, flies her dragon Melis straight through the floor of the ceremony, faces down the entire Green Court, and chooses to fly away rather than start the war right then. Rhaenys reaches Dragonstone with the news. Viserys is dead, and Aegon has stolen the throne. The shock sends Rhaenyra into premature labor. She delivers a stillborn daughter. Still, she's crowned queen with Viserys' own crown. Otto arrives offering peace terms, and Rhaenyra hesitates, wanting to avoid war to keep the realm strong against the prophecy's threat. Daemon, furious, chokes her in a rage. Then Corlys recovers, throws his fleet behind Rhaenyra, and blockades King's Landing. Rhaenyra sends her sons to secure allies. Jace heads north, Luke flies south to Storm's End, where Aemond is already waiting on Vhagar. The local lord refuses Luke's offer, and Aemond demands Luke's eye as payback for his own. Luke flees into a storm. Aemond chases him. In the chaos, Luke's small dragon Arax panics and blasts Vhagar with fire. Vhagar retaliates, killing both Arax and Luke. Daemon delivers the news to Rhaenyra, and her grief curls instantly into cold fury. Season 2 in the north, Cregan Stark pledges 2,000 soldiers to Jace. Rhaenyra spends days searching the coast for her son's remains before demanding vengeance on Aemond. In King's Landing, Aegon postures for strength while Otto urges restraint to avoid starving the small folk. Daemon recruits the spy master Mysaria and hires 2 thugs to assassinate Aemond inside the Red Keep. They can't find him. Instead, they break into Queen Helena's chambers, force her to identify her own son, and behead young Prince Jaehaerys in his bed. Helaena flees to Alicent's room and catches Alicent and Criston Cole together. The murder throws the capital into chaos. Otto stages a funeral procession to brand Rhaenyra the Cruel and turn the small folk against her. One of the hired killers is caught and reveals Daemon hired them. Aegon beats him to death himself and, in a fit of rage, orders every rat catcher in the city hanged, instantly destroying the sympathy Otto had built. Furious, Aegon fires Otto and makes Criston Cole his new hand. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra is horrified at what the murder has done to her cause and confronts Daemon. Breaking their trust, he storms off alone to Harrenhal. Meanwhile, to cover his own failure, Criston sends one of 2 identical twin guards to infiltrate Dragonstone disguised as his brother and kill Rhaenyra. He's caught by his actual twin, and the 2 end up killing each other. In the Riverlands, a decades-old feud erupts into open slaughter. Criston wants to march on Harrenhal, but Daemon gets there first, and it surrenders without a fight. There, Daemon starts having disturbing visions and meets a strange healer, Alys Rivers, who tells him he'll die at Harrenhal. Fearing for her younger children, Rhaenyra sends them, along with several dragon eggs, to the Vale for safekeeping. Desperate to stop the war before it truly begins, Rhaenyra sneaks into King's Landing disguised as a septa to meet Alicent secretly. She reveals the truth. Viserys' dying words weren't about Aegon II at all. He meant the ancient prophecy. Alicent got it completely wrong. But it's too late to undo any of it now. At Harrenhal, Daemon's grip on reality keeps slipping as he strikes brutal deals to win an army. Criston Cole takes Duskendale and marches on the Black-held Rook's Rest. Rhaenyra finally authorizes full dragon warfare. and Rhaenys volunteers to defend the position on Melis. A drunk, sidelined Aegon impulsively flies to the battle himself on his dragon Sunfire. The Battle of Rook's Rest begins with Melis tearing through Criston's army, while Aemond and Vhagar lie in ambush. When Aegon arrives, Aemond deliberately holds back, letting Melis maul Sunfire first, then swoops in and burns both dragons with Vhagar's fire. Sunfire and Aegon crash to the ground. Rhaenys and Melis then turn on Vhagar and nearly bring her down, but Vhagar recovers, crushes Melis's neck, and Rhaenys falls to her death. Criston wakes to find Aemond standing over a comatose, horrifically burned Aegon, sword drawn. The Blacks mourn Rhaenys while Criston parades Melis's severed head through the city as a warning. With Aegon comatose, the Green Council passes over Alicent and makes Aemond Prince Regent instead. He immediately seals the city gates, trapping commoners inside. At Harrenhal, Daemon forces brutal atrocities that turn the River Lords against him as a tyrant. Jace secures the phrase loyalty by promising them Harrenhal. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra realizes she has 2 massive unclaimed dragons and Mo riders. Jace suggests searching for hidden Targaryen bloodlines among the small folk. Aemond sidelines Alicent entirely and recalls Otto. The starved city erupts into riots, a mob nearly tearing apart Alicent and Helaena. Rhaenyra tries to get a loyal knight to claim the dragon Seasmoke, but it burns him alive instead. Seasmoke later accepts a new rider, Adam of Hull, Corlys's illegitimate son, who pledges full loyalty. At Harrenhal, the new Lord Tully backs Rhaenyra but forces Daemon to execute his own ally to appease the furious Riverlords. Rhaenyra and Mysaria launch the Red Sowing, gathering low-born Targaryen bastards from the city to try claiming the unridden dragons. It's a bloodbath, but a blacksmith named Hugh Hammer claims the massive Vermithor, and a terrified man named Ulf accidentally bonds with Silverwing. Ulf flies her over the city. Aemond chases on Vhagar, but backs off once he sees Dragonstone, now defended by an entire fleet of dragons. Tylan Lannister wins over the Triarchy's navy by beating their admiral in a mud wrestling match. Furious at the Blacks' growing strength, Aemond burns the town of Sharp Point to the ground. Larys convinces the crippled, traumatized Aegon to flee to Braavos, and they slip out of the capital in secret. Aemond orders Helaena to fly into battle. She refuses, revealing she knows he's the one who burned Aegon and predicts his death. At Harrenhal, one of Daemon's commanders urges him to declare himself king outright, but a loyal lord warns Rhaenyra, who flies in to confront him. Alys Rivers leads Daemon to a weirwood tree, where he has a vision of the future. A White Walker, Daenerys Targaryen with 3 baby dragons, and Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne. Shaken by his place in this larger destiny, Daemon swears full loyalty to Rhaenyra and brings the River Lords with him. Alicent secretly travels to Dragonstone and offers to hand over King's Landing once Aemond leaves, but Rhaenyra says Aegon must die for the peace to hold. Devastated, Alicent agrees, sacrificing her own son to save her daughter and the realm. The season ends with every army and fleet in Westeros marching to war. That's where Season 2 leaves us. Armies on the move, dragons on both sides, and the realm one spark away from total collapse. If you want more deep dive recaps like this, subscribe and drop a comment. See you in the next one.